Hi guys, how are we all? I
I'm good. How are you?
wasn't talking to you, I was talking to everyone else.
Oh shit.
How are you, Justin?
I'm good. The snow stopped for a day, so we get some more this week. But I'm good.
Good,
We
good.
have. Is anyone else on the any one of the people on the weekly drills in the snowy areas? Because I know a lot of people that we had over at Epic got stuck in the Texas stuff. So they didn't have power. I don't know if they still have power yet. It's been like a week for them. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Crazy times.
So
Well,
they'll have to use a survival knife. Good segue.
nice one. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
We had so many entries this week. I think
Yeah.
knives are popular right now.
Yeah, I know, right? 20. What are we gonna do when we have like 50? It's gonna be crazy. We'll have to
Gosh.
break it up. We'll have to have like, ugh, different sessions.
Yeah, well,
Um,
hopefully that's a good thing if we keep
no, it's a great
increasing.
thing. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Because then we can be like, Alan, you can come up and start doing these too. That's right. Get Mac on here. Break it up.
All
So
right.
no, we had I think we had 20. Unless I'm missing some. I counted 20 submissions.
Mhm.
So which is a lot. It's a lot of really good ones, and we're going to review a little more than five today, just because you guys submitted so many. So let's pop them open and start taking a look.
Sounds good. All right. Yeah, so many entries, guys. Thanks again for getting them all in. We had a great time looking through them all. So, first one, Justin, is this one. This one's
Flick
really
knife.
cool.
Yeah,
It's a caveman knife.
yeah, I really like it.
Wicked.
Um, yeah, I think this is. I'm gonna butcher your name, Slamir. You've done some really cool stuff in the past on the other drills. This one's really good. The thing that stuck out the most for me when I looked at this was, it's an original shape. I like that it was different than all the other knives because you kind of went like very, like you said, prehistoric. You can tell that you're kind of having like a wood handle, like a bone handle, and you have all the crazy wraps and little details. And I can feel that it looks like it's been like pounded and tempered out to get that shape. But the one thing I would say that is keeping this from being truly successful is it looks like there's a layer of like gloss over the whole stone
Mm.
plate part. That's throwing me for a little bit of a loop. Um, I think the easiest way to kind of go in there is just, if you did this in Substance Painter, for example, just add another channel and just start messing around and breaking up the surface of the roughness and metallic. Just like break it up so it doesn't feel so glossy. There might be hints where there actually is some shine, but even that part, I don't think it's going to be insanely shiny. I
Mm.
feel like it's going to be more like, just worn down a little bit, like flat. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely like, especially this part here, hey, it's like it's covered in like a layer of Glad wrap or something. So yeah, like the roughness, it's sort of like an in-between roughness, right? So it's not like super shiny and it's not super rough. So it gives it a sort
Mhm.
of plasticky feel,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah.
Um, but if you were to, yeah, just break it up with some, like you've got all of these dents and scratches and things like that in there. So I would say maybe just some like dirt and dust, maybe not dust, some dirt.
I think dust
Even just,
dust is good
yeah,
too. I think dust, yeah,
yeah,
because the handle, you're getting it on the handle, and it is a
yeah.
really good model. The way that you did the breakdown is really nice as well. Like you got a nice, and this would be like another good example of the one thing I would say your breakdown is really great. Your presentation was great.
Mm.
Again, share some reference so we can kind of see where you're pulling from. Cause oh no, you did have some
Oh, we
reference
do
in
have
there.
some reference. Hold on.
Yeah, and it does feel a little bit like so.
Yeah.
Looking at that, I can see where you're trying to go for. I just think you need to tone down that shine still, like another 50%, and then feel like you can introduce some like parts where there is some like dust or wear and tear or some dirt or something
Yeah.
like that, just to make it feel like it is a little bit worn. Even the handle itself, just a little more, but like you're it's a subtle change. I think if you do that, then you have a really
Mm.
solid piece. Because
I
everything
think
else
so
looks
too.
great.
Yeah, no, I was really happy with this one. Cool. All right. Next one, Justin, was this one. So let's start from the top. So this was the reference image, I believe, that they were going for. And then we sort of, final product was these guys here.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a great presentation. I like what you got going here. Like the details in the metal and the grip look good.
We have a
Yeah.
decent breakdown as well.
Yeah, it's a good breakdown.
How we did this. Wireframe. Yeah.
Yeah, I really have no complaints on it. If I'm looking at it from the top, I would say because the blade doesn't look super shiny as well in the reference, so yeah, it's like you don't need to have the blade be super shiny in this one either. And that's a good example of like, I like that you have open and closed. There's one shot where you have them both, but one's open and one's closed. I think it's more towards the top. That one? I think it works really well just looking at these pieces from like far away because some of the shots you have are super close and I know it's to show the detail, but seeing the closed one and seeing this one, I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid entry.
No, it looks great.
Yeah,
I think some of the, the colors, the colors are beautiful. And I like this touch here, brownie points.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take it.
I think some of the middle is losing its metallicness. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's like the base color or something, but I think it's just, it could just be lacking an environment actually to reflect off of. But it's lacking something that gives it that metallic feel. So I would just double check, pop a HDRI in the background just to give that metal something to reflect off of, because if it's just reflecting off of the gray, you're not going to get those reflections that really make the metal look and feel like metal. So that would be my suggestion for next time.
Oh yeah. You know what I would do too is the rope that you have that you made. It's fine that you're not doing the black, but I would definitely increase the thickness because yours looks super thin compared to the reference. And now that I'm looking at it, it just looks very, very thin. Like it needs to be like at least twice the circumference.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. And we could really see the detail as well if it was thicker.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something to pop it out.
Yeah, wicked. All right, moving on. So this one here I popped in. I won't play the whole thing, but just play a portion of it. What do you think of this one?
I thought it was pretty clever. It reminded me of like an Apple ad or something crazy, especially when it starts getting over there. I like the model. It's a great model, but going in there and having fun with the presentation, the opening and closing, the different cuts, I liked it. I want to. Can you? Is there more? I can scroll down.
So we have quite a bit of we got a bit of a breakdown as to how he achieved the multiple knives coming at us.
I think that's the thing. Like, I would have liked to see a little bit of a breakdown and reference on the actual thing, but like the presentation of it was really cool. I just like to see, and I know you did a big write up on it. I would suggest in the future. I mean, if that write up's for you, I would also suggest play to your audience. You don't have to put that much text. Just include some visuals, like even just the model, like some wireframes breakdown, and then you can kind of do like some bullet point stuff. Us artists, we like bullet point information. Very, very little. We like to hear things just a little bit. In terms of reading, it helps us kind of retain the information easier. It's a good model. I want to see more of it, I guess.
But it's clever presentation and it's definitely like a product design presentation, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I thought it reads it very much as a good product design. And now it's like we have to tell Alan and Mac to make rookies knives.
See how that goes.
Just give them more A. Like, I don't know why all the stuff that we're shipping out keeps on getting returned.
We'll see if we can get that past the approval.
I got held in an airport in Portugal because I got a gift and the blade was bigger than 6 inches, and people thought I was trying to like carry a knife, and like the people in the cops or whoever was like security in the airport were having like had like semi-automatic rifles, and I was like, oh shit.
That can
So
take you
even like
on.
smaller knives, I think I don't even know what the blade rule is. I think it just can't be bigger than your palm. But anyways,
Surprised you can even take a knife. Anyway.
yeah,
Cool. This one was, yeah, I was blown away by this one. I honestly, like in terms of material quality, coming from like texture side of things, I can't fault it. It's this would hold up in production. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Eric,
beautiful.
great job with your and your last name has a
What is
lot of letters. Your last name's a great Scrabble.
it?
No, you did a great job. This looks really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's original design. I mean, I like it. I was like when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's really fun. Really great materials on the handle, on the blade itself, the modeling itself. Just
Mm.
it just feels like something that Rambo would carry around on him.
This
Yeah, like the little number print on there was that like
yeah,
680 or 089. Like that's a nice touch
yeah.
on the handle. Yeah, that's a really good touch right there.
So this is where you write your
Oh, there's
name.
another one on the blade too.
Fun part of being a texture artist is to get your name on as many assets as possible before you get
Yeah,
caught.
I've done it before too, like in environments and stuff like that in games. Like I use like graffiti.
Yeah.
I worked on this Mortal Kombat game where if you turned it and all the stone things kind of like did my initials JVM.
So good. I love it. Um, but hey, this is what like I talk about in terms of like the subtlety of details. Like the height mapping isn't overkilled or too strong. It's just so subtle, and the details like it resolves up close. It's just beautiful. I really enjoy it. Like just you got these broad scale sort of color shifts and details, but then yeah, like as the light shines over it, you see the fingerprints and the specular highlights and things like that. It's truly beautiful. Um,
But it's
yeah,
also like showing you that you don't have like in terms of making a high poly, a low poly mesh. If you go back and forth and look at the low poly, there's just as much silhouette information on there, and they can really
mm,
tell what they're using on the high poly is just kind of
mm,
going in and using a repeating pattern just to grab that normal information for the grips and for
mm-hmm,
some of the number stuff and the
mm-hmm.
indentations. That's you know,
Yeah,
the surface doesn't always have to be overblown with normals and height maps, like you said.
no,
Subtle.
just all this beautiful, like, yeah, stunning. And the metal, it really feels like metal as well. Like
Mhm.
you've got the light reflecting off of it, and yeah, it's a real hard one to do. And I reckon looks like you've even got some anisotrophy in there as well. That's something which really makes these things work, like some of these stretched highlights and things like that, like with brushed metals. So
But
no,
what
beautiful.
is an isotrophy? Could you tell us?
Yeah. It's
'Cause
essentially if you get like a brushed metal, so if like things are brushing
mhm,
downwards, the specular highlight will tend to or appear to stretch perpendicular opposite it.
okay,
So like if some of this material, I would assume it's sort of brushing around, like it's to do with the mechanical construction of the metals. So if it's being brushed in its construction, so like you'll get sort of circular brushing marks going around.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, that highlight will stretch along it. So some of these circular shapes, if you pop a bit of an anisotrophy in there, you can see the highlight sort of starts to stretch and it produces these areas which you can have so you can have a metal that's quite rough but appear shiny because the specular highlight's been stretched in a certain way. So yeah, whereas this here is a bit flatter,
Yeah,
so we get
like
like a
satin. I agree with
flatter,
you. Yeah,
yeah, it's a subtle effect, and it's one of those things that's really hard to get right. So yeah.
good job. I even like so great job with this one. Great render. I like I like the fact that the wood boards that you threw it on aren't overpowering it, and it actually
Mm,
supports it. Like you don't have to have a crazy background for something to be highlighted.
mm-hmm. Nah, good work. All right, next one we have we have the movie
Mhm.
knife. So not working. Here we go. So this one was cool. I liked the presentation. It's obviously Crocodile Dundee's knife or something.
Are you offended as an Australian?
No, not at
Just
all.
kidding.
It's an iconic part of our culture.
Yeah. He's a national treasure.
Oh, it is. I didn't even, yeah. Missed that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Jesus, I forgot how big his knife is. That's crazy. Yeah, when I look at this, I think it's fun. I mean, it's nicely staged and everything like that. The biggest thing for me is the hat feels a little bit plastic,
Yeah.
and the knife feels just like the way that we're seeing it. Um, I can't see much on it. Like I would have loved to see more individual shots of the actual knife. I don't see it. It's just like it's one point of view, and part of it's like angled out, so I can't really see the full shape. And in terms of the details of the knife, the handle feels a little flat. The blade itself, like the model of it looks good. It's just it
Yeah.
feels everything feels texture wise just a little flat. Like it
Mm.
needs to get I want to see some more separation of the roughness and the metallic, and maybe even some surface detail on like height map and normal map wise on the actual handle itself to
Yeah.
make it feel like it's that kind of leather. Like if I zoom into the actual handle, it has like some horizontal like
Sorry, I
strip on
can't
it.
zoom in.
Yeah, no, I'm squinting on mine too. I have it
Yeah,
open
this
on my
part.
side too.
Yeah, when I zoom into it, it just disappears. So I'm just gonna leave it like
All
that.
good.
Yeah.
It's another case of like it's hilarious. I like what you're trying to do, but do you want to do the knife or do you want to do the hat?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want to keep working on it, I would just suggest uh, the hat itself tone down and break up that kind of plasticky vinyl feel that the hat has, and the
Yeah.
blade itself kind of lean more towards like the blade and handle that we had as the other one that we just recently saw, where there is this subtlety. Because right now
Yeah.
the blade you have just looks like there's kind of like a repeated pattern on there.
Mm.
Um, and it needs to have like some more subtleties in there. Like it doesn't have to be as like the breakup of the hard gray and the lighter gray doesn't have to be as contrasted because right now
Yeah.
it seems very contrasted.
Yeah. Like tone down this pattern you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when I look at the knife itself and the reference, it just looks brand new.
Well, let's have a look at the reference. Yeah. It's a little bit different, isn't it? So if you're
Mhm.
going to post reference, we're going to assume that that's your target. So, and if it doesn't look like your target, then yeah, we sort of like try to provide feedback that would get it closer to this.
Yeah.
So,
Another suggestion is if you are only going to use the reference for specifically like the hat or the shape of the knife and hat, but then you want to do different types of material swatches, that's fine
mm,
too. Just say that, and then that gives someone to work from.
mm. I'll give a bit of feedback while I'm here for the hat as well. So because it's a fabric, now fabrics can be quite tricky to execute, but apart from this sort of glossiness that's happening here, like, yeah, just make it a lot rougher because it's quite shiny. So roughen that out. Think of it as like, I mean, there's lots of like it's like a leather suede or something. So it's quite a rough material. So light's gonna really disperse out among it. The other thing I will just suggest is if we have a look at your reference, you can see on the is it the grazing angle? The grazing angle, it gets a bit lighter. So at the top, it's sort of lighter up here, it's lighter here. If we look at this one, it's like that furry pattern. Along the edges, you can see it's got that lighter, there we go,
Oh
that
yeah.
lighter material. And
Mhm.
that's because it's got, I mean, this one's vinyl, that's more leathery, but especially this one, you've got that fluff, that sort of microfiber on the outside, which sort of sits off the surface. So whenever you see it on a grazing angle, it kind of, yeah, you sort of just see that lightning of the fluff sitting on the surface. So depending on your renderer now, I think you might be using V-Ray. Photoshop? Yeah, V-Ray. So I'm not sure the setting, what you have available to you in V-Ray, but in Arnold, we have something called Sheen. So it's like an extra layer that you can pop on top and it mimics fabric really nicely. If not, you could always pop in a facing ratio to access these edges, and that will just sort of give it that, it's like faking that peach fuzz on top of fabric, and it's really important to the look. Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
can play around with that, give it a go for your showroom.
Or even like you just pointed out, like if it's gonna stay that other thing, adding some stitching will do a great way of breaking
Mm,
up that as well. Because noticed that the other hat has stitching at the top
let's have a
and even on
look.
the brim.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it, around here?
Hmm.
Yeah, nah, good call. Cool, cool. Next we have this one. So this one caught both of our eyes, I feel.
Just because it's called my friend's combat knife,
So
it
many
sounds like
like
a
lovely.
book. Yeah, exactly. This is my number. Um, it's a great shape. I guess the thing for me here is I think it looks rad. I wish I saw more of it.
Yeah.
You give us 3 shots, which is cool, and you give us one great clay render. It'd be cool to actually see the knife that you saw, some wireframes, and like the metalwork you got going on, the chipping off. It's a nice. I like what you're doing. Sometimes you can kind of ease off on the amount of metalware,
Mm.
but it's one of those things that's very hard for us to give more feedback if we don't see the actual knife.
Yeah, that's it. Like we don't know what you're trying to achieve.
But it looks cool. I mean, I noticed just like you got a fingerprint on the blade that right by where it says
Yeah,
graphics layer.
that's
You got some cool like you know you got some subtle stuff. I think you're there. I just would like to see more of it in terms of a breakdown, so I can be able to provide better feedback.
yeah, no, I agree. Something that stands out is this, like, again, I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to achieve, but see this sort of like horizontal pattern.
Yeah.
What I was talking before about the grinding of the metal. So
Mhm.
if this has been sort of carved out to produce that shape, I reckon that would be a lot finer. Like it's
Yeah.
really thick. It's usually not as readable as that. So, reduce it by like 50%, 75%, get it really thin. And then, yeah, that's just something I've noticed. But breakdowns, guys.
Yeah, it's a great, like really cool shapes you got going there. And the one thing I'll say is you're using the right amount of geometry,
Mm,
tessellation wise, to get those curves. Like nothing looks like it's segmented or low poly in terms of like fast
mm,
content. Like it's got the right amount of detail.
that's beautiful. All right, two more. So this one we brought out because we felt that with a bit more work, it could really be a nice showreel piece. The model had a lot of potential, don't you think? So this one.
Yeah, no, like I liked seeing the reference in the hand. It's pretty cool. I thought the
Mm,
model had a lot of good details to it. One, like some views, it looks like it's very flat, but like if I'm looking at this, this looks like there's one render where it's kind of three-quarter view. I think you had it.
yeah.
That looks like a good render for it, but the
Yeah.
blade looks a little bit rough. But in general, like I'm starting to see some breakup on the handle of the wood grain. I could see like the
Mm,
middle there, and the model itself has some good shapes. Like you're super close. I think it might be just also the size of the texture maybe just feels a little small. Um,
yeah. So
I'd want to see the actual UV map. I'd be curious to see how that's laid out because
do we
even
have
your
that?
model itself, no, the model itself, give yourself extra geometry because when I'm looking at the wireframe, it's very
Mm,
low res. It doesn't need to be. Um, you guys got to remember that, yeah, unless you want to work in mobile, um, you're going to be able to have more geometry. Like we're in PlayStation 5 now. You
mm,
have the ability to have more geometry, I promise you. Um, like some of the stuff that we're doing now for the newer consoles, I'm like, oh, I can see why it easily translates to virtual production and visual effects. Even with visual effects, you'll get some more. It's just one of those things that it'll help a lot more with your silhouette.
mm. I think
And
it has been subdivided here. Like you can see like that curve there,
oh yeah,
and that's there. But
oh nice.
you're yeah, but you're right. Like it's doesn't need to be as you could be a lot more
Yeah,
generous,
there
like
you
and make
go.
it even. Yeah.
No, I like it. I think it's either like the wood needs to get popped a little more, or like something with the blade. Like it's I see a little bit of a repeated pattern in the blade, but
Mm,
I liked it. I think it's a solid piece. Um, I think it's a good knife.
nice one. All right. Let's move on to this one. So this one was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was different. That felt
Yeah,
like something from Uncharted or Indiana Jones or Tomb
yeah,
Raider.
that's cool. Like the ruin, is it ruins? Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't notice that before. Looks like we've got like an ancient pattern or something in there.
Yeah, it's like it's and that, I guess this becomes one of those things that like you got some good stuff inside there. You're using Substance Painter for the first time, so this is great. You're actually like
Mm,
this is your first tackle with Substance Painter, so I think you did a good job rendering modeled in VR. Sorry, V-Ray and Maya. There's a lot of good stuff that I like about it. I guess the one thing I'd like to see more, I'd like to see. I guess my biggest question is this the detail that you got from? Was it from baking on a high poly model? Like, did you bring something in ZBrush it,
mm,
or just bring it in Substance Painter and kind of like stencil some of those details on there? The texture itself, I like the color information you're getting on it. I think like it just some of it feels a little bit um, random
mm,
or like it needs to have a little more purpose toward where you're placing some of the discoloration because it's like you're making the blade feel oxidized or
mm.
it's rusted or like forgotten forever. So I get that and it's feeling like it, but sometimes it just looks when I look at it, I guess the second one, yeah, right there, the blade,
Yeah.
like it just feels like I see the patterns of one and I see the patterns of the green, I see the patterns of the orange, the patterns of the like when I look at it, if I'm identifying just one thing at a time, I definitely see the patterns of the different textures on there, where you can break it up so it's not as repetitive pattern. I guess like
Mm,
you know what I'm talking about with that darker stuff on the actual blade.
yeah. I think as well, see, the materials are reading a lot nice here, actually.
Yeah,
Like if you switch between here and here,
yeah, it
um,
feels really nice.
that could be a viewport render, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, they're looking and feeling a lot nicer here. Like we have these, like the materials really look quite beautiful under the light. Um, I think if you had some reference images, that would really wouldn't go astray because what we're looking at, we're not entirely sure what materials we're looking at as well. Like the green on the base, is that like an oxidization happening or is it a metallic paint? Because it looks quite metallic, um, but I'm not sure. Like, has it been like painted after it's like rusted? Do you know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
because it's like very rusty, but this metallic paint sort of looks like it's sitting on top, like it's the topmost layer. So it's a bit of a story.
Which one is the Far Cry 3 machete? I'm looking.
I think it's this one. Is it?
Oh, that one?
Is that it?
I
I
think it's
think
the
that was
one.
a machete.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This one?
So for that one, I, I I like that you put it inside of a 3D render. By the way, if you guys can use that kind of stuff, it makes it easier to rotate around. The silhouette of it, the shape looks great. The actual texture itself, especially on the handle, felt very plastic. Like it needs to get it kind of broken up just a little bit. Let me get out of
Mm,
here. The model itself looks really great. I like especially like when I'm looking at the render. Good typology, good amount of details. The unwrap is a little bit. I see how like how you're unwrapping it. There's a lot of pieces going on for this. I'm
yeah.
looking at that right now. Um, I would have actually taken those two blades at the bottom since the biggest piece and probably rotated them 45 degrees and had them be diagonal across the space and kind of pushed somewhere like because you'd be able to grow the textile density on it. And then I would try to see those extra pieces that you have, like the five stacked pieces and the other ones, see if you can kind of like sew some more together. But that's about me.
Mm,
When it comes to the actual texture, I guess when I'm looking at, even when I look at your, like, if I'm looking at the actual reflection map that you have on here, or the metallic reference map, it just feels like a repeated pattern. It needs, like, I guess I need reference. Am I not seeing it? Yeah,
no, there's no.
I don't see reference so I don't know exactly what the handle is supposed to be like, but the handle feels like it has too much of an overall even sheen to it.
Yeah.
It needs to be broken up, and the metal has so many random scratches on it. You could take 90% of those scratches out and just have a couple key ones, and it'd feel
Mm,
more powerful. Same with the blood. Like if you're gonna do the blood thing, just do it super subtle and put it in like one area. Like the less is more will always go, and it'll make that stick out just a little bit more. Um, when I see like that the random scratches and blood, I think to myself, all right, why are the scratches here? Why is the blood there? But the rest of the thing seems super shiny.
Yeah. I think the
The
handle,
great.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say the blade is a lot more successful than the handle, isn't it?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
blade. The only thing with the blade, I would tone down the blood and maybe focus it to a couple areas, and then tone down the scratches and focus it to another areas. And I think those would read better because right now all those scratches they just look a little bit
Yeah.
noisy. But if you took like majority of away and just had a couple key scratches, those would be more impactful. The blade, like the handle itself, it just there needs to be like an adjustment to like the roughness or metallic
Yeah.
map to make it feel not so shiny.
It needs to be like it needs to either be super shiny, like it's varnished, or
Mhm.
really rough, like it's got no layer of roughness on it. Because right now it is got that plastic roughness. It's probably around like mid range. It does give it that toy sort of feel. But I'm
Yeah,
sort of like, I think what I'm responding to is I'm looking at it and I'm waiting for the detail to resolve, but it's not.
yeah,
So I feel like it's like you got beautiful, like sharp details in the blade, but the handle is appearing quite soft. And then the blood, I think there's a bit of blood on the handle. It looks like paint. Like blood doesn't have that lighter,
yeah. It's
yeah,
gonna be
like
darker.
a bit darker, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, like there and here.
It's gonna be darker, muddier. It's gonna,
Yeah,
and then ask yourself again, why is it there? I
yeah,
wouldn't, if you're slicing something. I mean, watch Dexter if you want to get into it, or like there's little things. It's super close. Like if just define the blade a little better with like the way that you want to have the scratch and blood, and then even the handle. Like, hey, is it going to be like a worn down wood where you can kind of see some of the paint and the varnish being stripped away, or is it like a brand new one? I don't know.
cool. All right. Well, that's all of them. Do we want to go through our top?
Yeah, sure. I I think for the top three, I would do that one number two.
Yep.
Um, that one
This
number
one.
three,
Yep. And number
and
one is,
I think that would be number one.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, it just killed it. It looks so good. I mean it's not an overcomplicated model, but the model looks great for what it is. You put the right resolution, great details on the height and normal, and just the texturing looks solid. I really like it.
mm, awesome. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So 1, 2, and 3. Cool. All right. Well done, everyone. Great
Yeah,
work this week. Yeah, can't wait. What's next week's one? Is that?
it's a game controller.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, someone's already started to submit stuff. So we'll be back to our normal Sundays, 8 p.m. Central Standard.
Mhm.
So yeah, make a fun game controller. Someone make an Atari one. I want to see that. All right, everyone. Thank you.
No worries, guys. See ya.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Justin. See you later.